do I have a story for you, my sweet friends? Oh, yes, I do. I do. So before I get into my kind of ridiculous story, go ahead and hit the thumbs up, like button, and subscribe to this channel so that you don't miss future videos from me. Go ahead and hit that little bell notification as well so that you actually get notified when I have new videos, because otherwise YouTube won't tell you, and it's not particularly useful that way. Okay, so how do I begin? Well, you know how I'm the person who always says, don't text a man first. Don't do it. Hey, don't text a man first. Don't do that. Let him chase you, girl. Yeah, well, I do say that. And I'm like pretty good at sticking with that. Except with this one person. You guys. So I met this guy a couple weeks ago, whatever you want to call it. And we met up for a drink after like the first day of meeting. So talked on Bumble on a Tuesday, met up on a Wednesday, okay? And this person is somewhat high profile, very busy, and works in an industry that, again, is very high profile. Let's just say that. And I don't care what people do. Like, I think you guys probably know me well enough. Like, I've dated people like that before. It's fine. Like, I don't care what you do, but I expect the same things from you that I expect from everybody else, including like you treat me the way that I want to be treated. That's really the end goal with anybody. Like, I'll give you a chance as long as you can give me the things that I need in a relationship, which for me is really just respect and some of the other things that I enjoy, like traveling and things like that. Like, I like to do certain things. I like to have a certain lifestyle. And I hope you go thrifting with me sometimes, because I really like that. Oh, and like I like food, so we get to get food too. So anyway, we just had like the best date. It was great. It was super good. And we had set up a date for that Friday. So 2 days later, right? And I get a text from him the next day. Cool, everything's good. Didn't get anything from him that night. It's fine. Like, I'm not a needy person. I'm just not. And then the next day comes, and unfortunately, I get a text. I'm like completely ready for the date. And I get a text that says, hey, work is gonna go way later than I thought. And I'm like, okay, great. He's not the guy I thought he was. This sucks. You know, you automatically kind of think like something's wrong. This is like, he's bailing. You know, you can't help but kind of go there. And that's the thing that I always tell you not to do, if possible. But I don't handle people rescheduling with me. I don't do it unless it's a very, very, very good reason. However, again, this person has, some good reasons if they're legit. But at this point, my mind's like, is it legit? Is it not? Am I a bad judge of character? I'm telling you, this even happens to the best of us, you guys. Like, I'm a pro. With these like basic dime a dozen kind of guys, like I am a PRO. Like, bye boy, it's fine. It's fine. Like, I'm not hurt. It's totally fine. I'm not even mad. Like, we can still be friends. I don't care. It's fine. It's fine. I'm not going to delete you on Instagram. It's fine. But with this one, I was like, okay, so do you still want to hang out? And you're like, well, I don't know what time I'm going to be done. And I'm like, okay, not a problem. How about we just, let's keep our original plan, since we had plans tonight, whatever. You just let me know when you're off. Just shoot me a text. Sorry, I've like cat hair in my face or something, and it's like driving me absolutely bananas. I know I look really crazy right now. It's really cool and crazy story. Just wait. We're getting somewhere. So he's like, yeah, that's fine, no problem. I'm like, okay, cool, I'll talk to you later. And I actually ended up going out with a couple of my friends because they were in town from another town, and one of them's friend was DJing, so we got like a VIP table anyway. Like, it was a great night. It was really cool. But that particular bar actually closed at 1 a.m. So it's like an early bar. So I texted him because I hadn't heard from him yet. It's been like 4 or 5 hours, and I'm like, hey, you know, like, it's really late. Like, and again, I don't do this, you guys, but I'm like, okay, so are we still doing, like, what's happening? Like, I haven't heard from you. Like, this bar is closing. Like, I have no problem just going home. I just, like, I want to, like, know what's going on. Because I'm still in the back of my mind being like, you're just flaking on me. Like, you probably had another date, like, whatever. You know, because you're just balancing this. Like, I don't know this person yet. We had a second date. Like, I assume the worst until I know the best. But also I assume the best so that I don't act crazy. So you see how all of this works. Like, you have to guard your heart. And that's exactly what I was trying to do in this situation. So texted him, nothing. Cool. And what's weird though is like all the texts kept going through. And I'm like, okay, so you're working, no problem. You guys, I have like something in here. It's driving me insane. So literally, you guys, I broke all my rules. Because at this point, I felt like something was off, but not anything normal. I didn't think he was on like a date with somebody. And like, I knew work was late, that's fine. But then I was like, wait, are you actually ghosting me or what? So I texted him that. I was like, are you like, is everything okay? And I didn't hear anything, but the text went through. And I'm talking like 3 a.m. at this point. And nothing. And I'm like, okay, that's weird. And then like I texted again at like 7 a.m. I think, or 8 a.m. I wanted him to be like up. But at this point I'm like kind of jacked up on vodka Red Bulls anyway, so I didn't really sleep much. I wasn't drunk, I just didn't sleep. And I was like paranoid. I'm like, what is wrong? Like I went into like full on like mystery solver mode. I was like Detective Deborah at this point. Because like I knew something was off, but I couldn't figure it out. And I even called a couple times and it rang and it rang. It was fine. Like it rang, it went through. Something was messed up here. So at like 8, I was like, hey, if you don't want to see me again, it's perfectly fine, but can you please just let me know? Like, I don't really appreciate ghosting. Like, we had a really great date and hey, like, I know like work was crazy for you or whatever, but like, if you just could, you know, shoot me a text when you get this, I'd really appreciate that. Nothing. 10 a.m. comes around. I'm like, I really didn't see you being a ghoster. You guys, I'm telling you, I'm breaking all of my rules in this situation. However, let's go back. Like I'm telling you, these texts keep going through. And I'm like, what is wrong here? If he didn't want to ever see me again, he would just block me. Like, he has an iPhone. I can see if he blocks me. My texts are going through. What is going on here? Something is off. And it was just too weird. And I was like, okay, fine. And then this is where it got like crazy. At one point, it like got to be like 2 p.m. and I was about to go see one of my other friends because I'm like, I'm getting out of the house. Like, I'm not gonna let this ruin my day. Like, even when I'm going crazy, like I'm not going crazy. I just want to figure out what's happening. Like, I'm still gonna live my own life like I tell you guys to do. I was like, wait, are you married? Like, is that why, like, did I really judge your character this bad? Like, are you married? Is that why you're either ignoring me, you're dead, or you're married? Like, and at this point I was just kind of like being like funny. Like, if he's really not wanting to talk to me and he's actually seeing these things, which at this point I'm like, there's no way he would have just blocked me. And so yeah. Anyway, so I go to my friend's house and we sit there and play cards for a while. And then like 4 p.m. hits and I get a FaceTime call ringing on my phone. And it's him. And I'm holding a cat, like a big orange cat in my arms. And I answer this phone call. I have like no makeup on. I look like a trash can, which is fine. I don't care what I look like. But he's like, hi. And I'm like, hi. This a cat? And he's like, yeah, so let's get this over with. And I was like, okay. I was like, well, thanks for calling, first of all. And he's like, yeah, so I had kind of a crazy night. And I'm like, oh, okay. So he explained it. And his work thing was very legit. Like I said, he's in a particular industry and like what he had to do, he had to do. Like I'm all understanding about work. Like, work comes first, career is important. Totally get it. Now, the thing that I'm going to teach you guys and reinforce with you guys is always assume that the worst happened until you know it didn't, okay? This is where I'm going with this. Again, guard your heart, but sometimes when it seems too crazy, like I told you, like my text kept going through, I knew something bigger was at work here. It's because something bigger was at work. Like, it was unbelievable. So he's like, yeah, so on top of the work stuff, I was holding a bunch of stuff and dropped my phone face first. And then I picked up the screen, looked at it, and yeah, I had a Spider-Man phone. Couldn't see a single thing. Couldn't see a single thing on my phone, and my watch was dead. So I didn't even have my watch. Didn't even have my Apple Watch. Yeah. He's like, so I finally got back to the hotel at, 1 a.m. and couldn't even call you because I didn't have your phone number. So he's like, I felt horrible. He's like, I felt absolutely horrible. Couldn't even tell you like what was going on. I was like, she's probably freaking out. I felt horrible. I was freaking out. And he's like, and then my coworker fixes my phone, and then I get my phone back and I come back to like 20 texts from you. And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, well, so part of it, like, I'm sure I look crazy, but I think you know from the other day that I'm not crazy. But what freaked me out the most is that they kept going through. So I knew something was off because you don't seem like the kind of guy that would ignore me like that. And he's like, yeah, exactly. And I'm like, so are you married? And he's like, haha. But either way, so he's like, so how about this? He's like, so how about I forgive you for the 20 texts and we just forget about the fact that I didn't have my phone for a night and like a bunch of craziness happened. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds perfect. And I'm like I said, like at that point, I just knew something was off and I just wanted to figure out what it was and I didn't know how to figure out what it was. So I'm sorry I texted you a bunch, but that wasn't like the intent. It was more like, why do they keep going through and why is he not answering? Because something weird is at work. Like, is he okay? Kind of thing. So moral of the story is chances are you may be being ghosted, but also in such a short time span, crazy things can happen. So let's backtrack. What if I had not texted him 20 times? What if I had just said, hey, sounds like something weird might have happened since I haven't heard from you. Either something's going on with your phone or maybe like something really weird happened at work. I hope you're okay. When you get this message, could you please just, shoot me a text back or give me a call or something? Otherwise, I'll kind of be worried. And then just leave it at that. Even if it's another 12 to 24 hours, try to wrestle with that anxiety yourself because you don't have to be Detective Deborah like I tried to be, even though it ended up working out fine because like I can kind of show people that in person, like I'm not crazy. So like he was able to like know that I'm not crazy. But if they like don't know that, they're just gonna think that you're crazy. And the thing is like what brain space you're doing all of these things in, and like don't let your anxious attachment drive how you're like being in any of these relationships, including when he's not texting you. And I will say, like when you're dating more high profile people or people who are just very busy in general, like you are going to have times where they're simply not available. And it's something that I continue to struggle with because I'm very big on communication. And I understand that sometimes you're actually not available. However, there are times where you still have your phone. So I think that that's a delicate balance that you would really have to handle with that particular person. And that's where communication becomes just that much more important. So anyway, luckily that story ended well, but I just want to show you that crazy things actually do happen. And instead of having to explain your way out or rely on like the actual reputation you were able to establish in, like one date, like it was that good. It was that good of a date where we were able to figure out like, yeah, this is actually cool. You're cool. I know this was actually just a fluke. Don't worry. That's gonna be rare. So how about you just keep your cool instead and assume like, hey, something weird might have actually happened, give them the benefit of the doubt, even though it might kind of hurt for a little bit. But even if you have to send that last text that says, hey, it seems like something might have happened. I'm kind of worried since I haven't heard from you. I hope everything's okay. And again, this is like 24 hours later, you guys. This isn't like 4 hours later. Just because they have your phone number if they want to get a hold of you. If you feel like you're being ghosted or whatever, you can always just say, hey, I hope everything's okay. If you don't want to see me again, that's totally fine. I understand. But, you know, it would really feel good to at least hear from you. And, you know, I hope all is well. Otherwise, I'll be a little bit worried or something. It just really depends on the context. But either way, you want to end things on as nice a note as possible, and like don't keep berating, because again, something simple may have happened and you don't want to like ruin any chances by being like super crazy, like 20 texts like me. Again, I honestly was just freaked out by the fact that they delivered and he didn't block me. So I was right. I knew something weird happened, but would I do it exactly the same way again? No. Am I almost glad that it happened that way, just so that I can tell you guys this story and show you the power of actually like being a cool girl and like, I don't know, showing people that you're not crazy the first date so that they know even when you kind of act crazy, you're not being crazy and you can kind of explain your way out of it realistically. Yeah, kind of. But I mean, it would have been cool to just like not have bothered him at all. But in this situation, it just probably wasn't going to happen. So anyway, I hope that you kind of resonated with this story, because believe me, we've all had this. We've all not heard from someone, or maybe our phone has broken and we've, you know, gotten 20 text messages or something from someone. And it's just giving people grace, because life does happen. Things happen, and it's like how you want to handle it and how you want to move forward. So yeah, absolutely crazy. But again, let the guy lead the relationship, do what you can, but also have your boundaries and your standards. And I just, you know, I wish you the best, and never let how much you like someone dictate what you accept in the way of them treating you. I'm not talking about being needy, because neediness isn't a good thing. You can have a great relationship with someone who's busy, but it just depends on what you actually need intrinsically. And again, ask yourself whether you're being too needy and if you're really getting the things that you need otherwise. So some of it's just communication too. So anyway, I love you guys. Go ahead again, click the like button, hit subscribe, and the bell notifications. If you have any questions for me that you would like me to answer in the form of video, go ahead and drop those in the comments, or you can always email me at lovemegansummer@gmail.com. And if you want me to answer a question for you one-on-one, like we can do some coaching, I have options on my website at megansummer.com as low as $25. Like literally $25 to meet with me one-on-one. We would just do a quick Zoom call, answer your question. If you need more time, there are a couple other options too, but I want to make some of that affordable for you if you really just want to talk with me. I cover everything from business, love, lifestyle, and leadership. Everything I talk about on this channel is fair game as far as discussing things with me and getting my personal advice. But remember, I will always be blunt. I will be the same way as you see on this YouTube channel. So I hope that you can handle that, because I am who I am. Anyway, I love you guys. I will talk to you soon.